Okay, so we are back and finally got everything set up on the laptop here so that I can do this sketch stuff from just about anywhere, hopefully. I am currently on a mini vacation right now in the mountains, so I'm giving this whole thing a test run. There's a lot to get things finagled, to get all the hotkeys set up correctly, so, there might be some hitches on this sketch, but, this whole sketch exploration thing is just a big evolving process, and honestly, it's that's just how it is, getting your space set up. It's never straightforward, but it always takes a little bit of time just to get some things in order so that you can make your process and the fun of it occur a lot faster and easier. Okay, so I didn't really have much of a direction that I wanted to go in, so I thought I would just use the probability chance method and let the laws of fate pick for us what direction we want to go in. So let's see, drone, texture, beat, bass, maybe something melodic. And this is just, as a start point. I don't really necessarily want to stick to this direction per se 100%, but we'll just give it a go and see what happens. I think this is kind of a fun way to give yourself a little bit of a direction, and let's just see what happens. Okay, so it looks like we got off easy this time. I think the drone and textures are really fun and easy start points. Let's see, start picker. Let's see, sketch, direction, start picker. Okay, cool. So I want to save this here and drop it in my templates folder so we can use this later on. I'd like to get some more of these that we can drag in. So we can drag in any of these from that window into here and like get some for effects, instruments, max for live devices. And we could get a whole bunch going and just, hit this key here and then, pick maybe a sketch that has textures and beats. Or we could have 3 of these in bass, melodic, texture. So, this is a fun way to obviously give yourself a little bit of, creative direction without, when you just don't have any ideas to begin with. So, okay, we had a drone going. And I guess that could be anything. It could be melodic, it could be bassy, it could be a textural drone. So that's cool. We can just start playing some notes. And I had pulled in the last sketch a max audio effect. It was the pitch and vibrato. I want to explore this just a little bit. And let's get our video going here. That also helps give me a bit of direction. Cool. So I'm just kind of thrashing on these parameters here, and that helps give me a sense of what each one does. And sometimes I hear really interesting sounds that come out of that thrashing, and I'll try to automate it. Yeah, again, on this laptop, we've got this weird anomaly with Macs, and this is Live 11 with the latest Mac. So I think it maybe goes beyond, perhaps, Ableton and Macs. It might be a Windows thing, why we don't see those options there. So let's just map some of these. Awesome, and let's map this pitch here. Very glitchy. Drones made easy, honestly. This is kind of like almost the sound of what they put in a lot of films in outer space, you know. Of course, there's no sound in outer space, but in movies, it seems like there's always explosions in outer space, or it's kind of like a low hum. It's an interesting interpretation. And I guess if you had those scenes in movies where there was no sound, it would also feel perhaps very weird. Some interesting artifacts coming from this pitch and vibrato. Almost like a bad MP3 sound, which can be kind of a fun, cool effect to work with. Depends on how open-minded you are to distortions and using strange sounds in general. In this sketch exploration series here, we obviously have been exploring a lot of very strange sounds, so that is, I think, part of the point of this is well, for one, I do love very strange sounds. They tickle my brain in the right ways. So I obviously go back to those a lot, but I kind of want to show the fun in just sort of diving deep and trying to work with and explore a bunch of weird noises. Sound designers, that's kind of what we do. We kind of play with a lot of weird effects and just see what happens and try to hear and remember the results and discover, hopefully, some really cool, interesting sounds along the way. Make sure our volume levels are looking good there. Cool. I tell you, this live filming thing is not as easy as it looks, and I probably got it pared down to the most basic way of doing it. Pretty trashy setup as far as video stuff goes, but it is just like this extra layer of complication, and you know, some of these I have to restart multiple times because, you know, some things just mess up along the way for whatever reasons. Knock on wood. So far, so good today. Okay, so let's automate this one. Whoops, did not want to do that. Let's close our follow actions panel and cool. Spacey, probably a little too spacey. Sometimes you need that classic vintage or whatever spacey sounding synth stuff. I try to be a little bit cognizant of cliche type sounds and when to use them. Right, let's get some of that. Excellent. Now, I think automating these time sliders could produce some interesting results. Let's dive into that. I've got this window popping up here. I obviously need to adjust my auto hotkey a little bit, which I think we could go ahead and do. edit this script. And you can see my auto hotkeys here. They're a bit squirrely, a bit over the top. Just this right-click section here. And we'll save that. Reload the script. And let's just test it out really quick. Cool. So you know, right-click there. Maybe at some point I'll share out my auto hotkey script and let people utilize that if they want. I'm probably one of the few that does use auto hotkeys, but I couldn't recommend any more for everyone to consider the benefits of hotkeying stuff. Helps my life speed up certain processes like this. Adding the random lengths there is huge for me. I think part of becoming a good artist is learning to be really efficient and figure out ways to streamline your process so that you can get to the good stuff, like making cool sounds. You can get to all that a lot faster. So this is kind of turning into more of a textural thing. I can't help it sometimes. Honestly, a sucker for the textural stuff. And if we, for whatever reason, wanted to get back on track with trying to turn this into a drone, as you've seen before many times, it is very easy to just drop a reverb on the end there. And space it out that way. Let's utilize our... I'm kind of just curious what some of this will sound like. And you know, honestly, mysteriously, some of the coolest sounds can come by just kind of randomly dragging and dropping things around. There, we've gotten back on track with our drone. I do love this new hybrid reverb. I'm a big fan of convolution. Pretty much all sound designers are. If you really want to dive deep in becoming a sound designer, you kind of have to become familiar and in love with just about all the effects. Yeah, with this drone here, you can almost hear all kinds of like slow, tortured beats, or surly, guttural bass lines. Really ominous slow pulse. Let's slow this whole thing down. And I think we need to... There we go. It sounds a little bit more in tune with our Let's get some really just love the drum bus and the things it can do with adding bass in there. Let's get some more reverb going. All right, now I want to hear what we get when we bend the tail of the delay a little bit. No, I don't think I want these happening all the time, so let's give ourselves some runway here. And I'll go ahead and duplicate this and then just kind of delete or mess with some of these various envelopes here. I don't think I want an operator. I think I want an analog. And before I mess with that, I just had a random thought of pulling in. We had this instrument rack from forever ago, Weirdo Guitar. It uses the tension instrument, which can be a little bit surly, so we will add a limiter. Just double check on my levels here, make sure everything's looking good. Okay, let's just get a note down. I think for this, I want to get this hyper reverb in the effects. So everything in the group now runs through the effect. Okay, that is a bit obnoxious. So let's see what happens if we just throw some random in there. And I'm thinking a scale MIDI effect after the random so we can sort of rein it in a little bit. Wow, drop it an octave and you get almost a whole other vibe. So let's automate that and take advantage of that strange anomaly. Okay. Therein lies the bug. I do believe Tension has a few bugs in it that one must be cautious of. So let's mute this and automate this. We'll call this our MIDI gate. MIDI GAT, whatever. And we'll automate this because there is a bug when you automate the speaker icon. Okay, we'll get back to that. And I'm not sure if this melody arpeggiation line is, you know, what we want ultimately in there, but I'm just kind of indulging an idea that I had the other day of messing around with kind of an old school sounding kind of like something you would hear on an old, you know, public access TV station late at night, you know, as there's a logo flying across the screen or something. There we go. So we could have taken this, you know, into a more dark territory. You know, if you just remove this drone, you know, is it kind of an interesting space that it goes into. Whenever I've got a sketch and a bunch of layers, I sometimes love to try to pull things out and just have a listen. So, you know, we could have things, you know, record onto this timeline in the progression of this. That is so unpredictable. And I believe it is related to these velocity. Oh, this is the key section. So yeah, I guess if we get a random key that's a little higher up, we're gonna get the potentially the crazy coming out, which is it sounds like a. So if I turn those off, I think we won't experience as much as that insanity. So anyway, what I was saying before is we could have the drone start the song out, and then the bass pulse could come in slowly thereafter, and then some of the strange guitar, and then we could just easily pull out this, you know, after the old public access analog sound comes in. there's a lot of things we could do. And we could change the rate of this. And let's pull this picture rack here over into the group, so therefore we can save a little bit of CPU instead of having 2 copies of it. Don't know what happened there with the hotkey. There we go. Is really insane. I'm trying to think of ways to work with that. Maybe if we just keep our limiter down low enough, it won't. I'm not sure, you know, maybe like we could put a multi-band dynamics on there so that when the high end hits, that pulls down a lot more. So that could be an option. Let's get our drone back up. Cool. Kind of got sort of an old school sci-fi thing happening. I can't honestly tell if this tension, if that crazy electric guitar that pops out is a bug or just some kind of anomaly of the built-in routings that we've got going on with this particular patch. All right, more length on that one, I think. Yeah, we could have that come in every now and then, I guess. So, okay, I guess, you know, that kind of crazy thing happen out of tension every now and then. It wasn't so bad, I suppose. If it only happens like, you know, maybe once or twice in the song, and I might even want to use something like that as I'm composing to be like a sort of transitional sound, something that could be a harbinger sound for other things to come. Okay. Now let's summon ourselves an operator. But when it happens a little too often, it's kind of like, gets old, it gets old. So maybe we'll, let's try to turn off velocity, the key affecting velocity thing here. Sometimes if you delete it and then you hit undo, that'll reset an instrument. It's kind of like the hard reboot. Well, I guess I'm glad at least we discovered kind of what was causing it. These little sections here. Well, I stand corrected. So, as much as I love this, I might just turn it off for now. Because every time that thing comes in like all crazy, it's a little, you know, difficult to... I love randomness, but it's, you know, when it goes crazy like that, it almost kind of like is jarring and breaks your ears, and, you know, it's something that maybe we could put into the looper, and let's try that actually, and maybe just see if we can get the good stuff in on the looper. All right, and let's turn that thing off. Okay, something I've been doing with these samples is adjusting their quality so we can keep these projects down in file size. Let's normalize this to minus that, and then sample it down and change the bit depth. Give it that old school sound, and then back on our project, make sure that all went through, very good, and then we can drag that back into our looper. And because of the sample rate, we have to adjust the pitch down. All right, and we don't need this anymore, because with the looper, it saves the loops inside of the Ableton project. So if I hit play on this, you'll see, or not play, but save, you'll see that it just disappears magically. There it is, 68, 470, and that's due to this file here in the looper. All right, let's get rid of this. Show in browser. That's the tricky thing about working on this laptop versus the desktop PC. Definitely limited on screen real estate, so it makes certain actions a little bit more tricky. Okay, cool. Let's I think I want these to occur a little bit less. We could also automate a utility in there, give ourselves a little bit more set control. So I'm getting some lo-fi vibes from this old school sci-fi layer. And I think some hiss in there would be nice, somewhere in here. Let's see if we've got a hiss generator in our rack. I know our old school tape effect makes some hiss. So let's bust that one out. I believe a little compression with a sidechain from our effects out. Oh, whoops. I am sort of destructively not paying attention. All right. Sidechain from here, pull from our effects. Okay, and let's... So our hiss is going to be kind of pulled down by our... This helps the hiss be a little bit less just sort of monotoned or straight. Dynamically, this adds in a bit of interest, a bit of modulation, if you will. Now I want to hear if we pull in a some of our beats. We had this old school beat rack. Play any note. That couldn't get any easier. Let's try. Oh right, we've got melodies in there too. Yes. Maybe we don't need the bass. So we'll just mute those sections. In fact, we can just delete those. Not sure if this is the beat that really works with this particular sketch. We try it in here also. Let's if I remember from our past sketch when we invented this, every time a note comes in here, we get a new array of a pattern. So if we don't have the note being constantly played, then we'll hear the same pattern over and over. But if we want new patterns constantly, we need the note to be hitting. So maybe every 8 measures we'll get a new pattern. Let's try a little spectral time on there. Love this freeze with retrigger, so the sound volume coming in creates a kind of envelope. Perhaps smaller sounds, like a tighter envelope. In some ways, this almost has this old Warp Records feel to it, to me as well. Kind of like a 90s. Let's copy this spectral time and try it out on the Plucky. Can't insert device here. Well, that's odd. Maybe it didn't copy properly. I do believe we lost our kick a little bit somewhere along the way. That's kind of interesting. I'm curious what we can do with that. Let's automate through some of these oscillator types. I'll put that that sidechain compressor on this drone, but pull from the beat. And of course we've got to try to pull this thing down and see what we get at the lower tempo levels. Okay, cool. So I kind of liked some of these different tempos in there. Whoops, I think we can add in some, let's add in some scenes. Control I, yes, as always. I always forget that hotkey, and I think that a lot of that is because I just don't use scenes a ton in these sketches. So we've got 81 here. I think this one we can make, we had 111. We can go down to, let's say 90. And I think we just need to have clips on all of these for this to work. So let's select all of these, shift select, turn on follow actions, choose other. And action time, we'll say just one measure. So we've got two 81s. And as long as we don't have stop buttons in here, it'll just keep playing these notes. And with these clips here, I wonder if we can just turn these off, if we'll still get the clip, the scene jumps. And it looks like we do. Like I believe, just to test this out, if we remove these, we don't get scene jumps anymore, so there have to be clips in order for the scene follow action to kind of go down along its route. I see. So these that haven't been specifically set only go with the tempo that of here. Okay, so we should set this one to 81, or was it 88? I can't remember. 85. We'll just put it as 85. So maybe we could just set. So that is cool that at least ones you don't set get to be whatever the last one it shows. We want this a little bit slower, 101. We've got 94, 101, and maybe somewhere in between there we could just do 90, 80, maybe 89. And we could make this only linger for 2 beats. So it'll stay a little bit slower for the most part. This one can be 3 beats. This one's 3 beats. So whenever it's on 85, it gets to linger on that one a little bit longer. Scene follow actions. Such an amazing addition. This kind of shifting of tempo doesn't really make sense in most contexts. Most people, I don't think, would want to use it. When you're composing music for films and, you know, trying to make songs sound a bit more realistic, like classical music, you do have to add in tempo automations usually down in here to have sections sort of speed up and slow down a little bit, because that is how a real orchestral set of players with a conductor are going to play. They're not going to be precisely onto a click track tempo. Plus, some scenes you need certain sections to speed up just to fit with the timing of the scene, so you have to be able to sort of automate things here to make your parts and phrases work within the timing of a scene. So that's an interesting concept to consider. Cool. So I think for now, I kind of like this sketch. It feels full. We've got, you know, some stuff happening in the bass end, stuff happening in the high end. I don't think it would be very hard to compose this one out from its current sketch state, compose it out into here. And let's put things in order of how we might want them to sound, sort of like, or what order we would want them to go in over here. And I'm thinking this order here. So we would start the song out with the dark drone, slowly fade in the bass pulse, fade in this plucky stuff, which now that I'm remembering, we need to set up. We'll group this, or actually no, we won't group this. We will set this thing up. Unlink that, and we want it to start here. And we want it to start down in from the stopped state up into the play state. So if this thing is turned off, when we hit play on this, whoops, I guess we need to turn this back on. If we hit play on this, it should start playing this automatically. Okay, good. Loopers are a bit funky in how you have to show automation. Yeah, everything is looking good there. Cool, and then I think we would have some of these melodies kind of come in and have the drone sort of fade out. And the beat, you know, I'm still undecided if it's worth having in there or not. I do like this simple series of sounds playing together. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think we're good to go on this sketch. Maybe we'll just adjust this down to somewhere closer to the 80, 91, and maybe, you know, to get in a little bit more very subtle variation, so 85, 86, 89, instead of 91, maybe we'll just do something a little slower than 85, like 84. So therefore we have a tempo that is not super calculated, and this is a bit more organic sounding in the end. It's terrible for people who want to remix this kind of thing. And if they're trying to tempo match to you, good luck. But I think that this sounds a little bit more subtle and interesting. All right, I'll let this play out for a little bit, and then we'll call it. So keep it weird, keep it fun. Until next time.